Hello. So we're going on a road trip. We're heading up to Ross because we want to go to an art exhibition, which is part of the 10 Days on the Island festival, and we're going to see The Fugitive, which is part of the sub-exhibition If Halls Could Talk. And we thought, since we're going all the way up to Ross, why not spend a night at Launceston? So I'm going to be sharing this adventure with all of you, and let's go. And now we're going to be heading off. Off we go. We're at Ross and we're about to go into the exhibition.
Sometime during the late 1830s, Solicitor General Alfred Stephen met with the public to discuss the Aboriginal problem, as the Aboriginal people were not considered real people. He said that if the colony could not protect its convict servants from Aboriginal attack without extermination, then boldly and broadly exterminate the Aboriginal people. Colonial wars were fought on Australian soil between the British colonists and the Aboriginal people. The British enacted genocidal policies and practices as the intention was to destroy the Aboriginal people and their culture just because of the colour of their skin, and so they didn't think that they were human or anything and therefore did not matter at all. Obviously, the Tasmanian Aboriginal people did not comply with the consolatory policies, causing them to be killed. Sir George Arthur, the Lieutenant Governor of the colony and Colonel commanding the military, directed a series of offences against the Aboriginal people. Sir George Arthur's war was the largest ground offensive in Australian colonial history. After he arrived in the colony in 1824, he began stockpiling weapons. The military officers and soldiers were given civil powers. The former soldiers were encouraged to settle in Van Diemen's Land and to help capture the Aboriginals. The settlers were issued with hundreds of guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition. The convicts that actually fought and killed the Aboriginal people were rewarded. The military people searched the island for Aboriginal people, taking them prisoner, injuring them, and then killing them. They destroyed the Aboriginal campsites and their weapons. Sir George Arthur knew his war parties were killing off the Aboriginal people, but still sent them out regardless. John Batman shot 2 injured Aboriginal prisoners in his custody. The colonial strategy became more severe over time. Bounties were introduced at £5 for an adult Aboriginal person and £2 per child to encourage colonists to bring in the live captives. These payments were later extended to cover not only the living, but also the dead. As the war went on, Sir George Arthur ordered his men to conduct many covert operations. There was some empathy for the Aboriginal people, but most of them were just captured anyway. During the later stages of the war, Sir George Arthur sent George Augustus Robinson to carry out a diplomatic-friendly mission to take Aboriginal people. Sir George Arthur wanted the details of the war to become a military secret. He then strove to kill off all the remaining Aboriginal population on the island. By the mid-1830s, almost all of Tasmania's surviving Aboriginal inhabitants lived on small islands in Bay Strait, some with sealers and others at the Aboriginal establishment on Flinders Island. On the eve of invasion, the Aboriginal population was a few thousand, and within a generation, the population was only a few dozen.
So that exhibition was really interesting, and it's really interesting to hear about what has happened in the time before us, what has happened before our generation. Like, so much has happened in these streets that we don't even know about because we weren't alive, because there is so much that has happened before our time. Here are the streets of Ross, which you might remember if you watched my Bridport vlogs. This was the first stop we went to on our way to Bridport. I really like this little space. It seems so quiet, but yet again there are so many people here. And now we're back on the road. So we are driving to Launceston and we're going to get some lunch on the way. It's only about an hour away. So here we go. Stopped at a bottle shop so Dad can get some beer. Not for me, of course. It is raining right now, but we've found a place to go for lunch. It's called Veg Out. It's a vegetarian restaurant, obviously by the name. Walking in the rain to the restaurant. It's not cold, and it's not raining heavily right now. It's okay. But there it is, up there, Veg Out. That's where we're going for lunch. Here's their menu.
Cheese, the aioli, a bagel, nachos with guac, chips with tomato sauce, small soy latte, 2 bacon cheeses. Awesome, we have 54 altogether.
Surprise, surprise. I've got a black cherry kombucha. So here is my lunch. This is the brekkie bagel. So as you can see, it's got tomato, it's got onion, it's got mushrooms, and it's got hash brown as well. So some leaves and a bit of slaw and corn chips. Lunch was good. The bread was quite thick actually. I almost didn't get through it, but it was still good, and it had an alternative to a beef patty as like a breakfast patty. I'm assuming it was made from like plant-based stuff since they're a vegetarian place. We just survived the rainstorm. Now we're going to be heading off to our hotel and we're going to check in. Be there very soon.
This is where we are.
Ordington Boutique Accommodation. We're here. Heading up to our room. Here we go. It's the bathroom, showers here, baths here, toilet here, desk here, some couches, a dining table, and my bed with an awesome view out the window. This is such a fancy place. It seems so old-fashioned, but so modern at the same time. So we think that we want to go to a museum, and we're going to be going to QV Mag. It's Queen Victoria, of course. Here we are, Queen Victoria Art Gallery.
This piece is called the Clyptorhynchus. It is made out of hewn pine, steel and enamel. Hewn pine is endemic to Tasmania. It grows only in the southwest rainforest region of the state and can live up to 2,500 years. These trees only grow a millimetre in girth a year, and they do not reproduce until they are between 600 and 800 years old. Hewn wood has a very high oil content that acts as a natural pesticide, making it a popular material for colonial boat builders. In the 1970s, legislation was introduced to protect these significant trees from further harvesting. Enough hewn pine timber was stockpiled from trees cleared for hydroelectricity dams, and this supply is likely to last for another 2 human generations. Launceston's Cataract Gorge has long been a special place for Tasmanian Aboriginal people, but it has not always looked the way it does today. In the past, during times of glacial melt, much more water flowed down the gorge. Aboriginal people also managed vegetation in the area for hunting and gathering. Particular fire regimes were applied to specific sites and depended on vegetation types, topography, time of day and the year, as well as weather conditions. When travelling in Tasmania, large rivers must be crossed. Watercraft were often used and were propelled using poles or by swimming alongside. Rivers were also valuable sources of round river pebbles, used as hammerstones for stone knapping and as Balawan stones for grinding ochre. Tasmanian spears, also known as narlina, are very different to those used in mainland Australia. They are longer and thinner and are thrown without the use of the spear throwers, which are called the woomeras of the mainland. Hunting spears were frequently made from tea tree. They were typically between 2 and 4 metres long, although some were even longer. Spears were also used for close combat. These were the shorter versions and were made of a stiffer and heavier species of timber. Tools made from flasked stone, also known as lena perina, have been the basis of much human technology for over 2 million years. Because they do not break down as quickly as other materials, stone tools are often the only visible evidence of early human activity. In Tasmania, tools found in deposits approximately 40,000 years old have been found in the Jordan River Valley. Tools of different types of stone may indicate the deliberate transport of stone across the landscape. This could have been part of a cycle of movement by a local group or a wider trade network in which stone was passed between neighbouring clans. While we were at QV Mag, we also went to see Lost Landscapes by Anne Zauhaka, who is an Australian photographer. She unearths habitat displays from around Australia and reimagines them to reflect contemporary concerns about the environment. The popularity of dioramas faded as museum display technology advanced. Today, they are mostly lost or destroyed. The dioramas that we saw were restored as they were originally displayed at Royal Park alongside Zauhaka's radical interpretations. The former chief preparator of QB Mag, Terry Cashin, crafted these dioramas in the 1970s. In November 2017, Métis artist Rosalie Fabel brought together 9 artists from different Indigenous nations across Canada and Australia for a project called Wrapped in Culture. Collaborating on the overall design, they created contemporary versions of an Australian Aboriginal possum skin cloak and a North American Plains Aboriginal buffalo robe. 2 culturally distinct yet similar artistic traditions that historically held both sacred and practical purposes. Bringing such objects into the present through an engagement with global art practices and modern materials demonstrates that Indigenous peoples are not fixed and regulated to the past, but rather a part of diverse and dynamic living cultures. A series of photographs of the robe and cloak serve to bring them to life, demonstrating that these artworks are transformed when they cease to be static objects. Traditionally, the iconography on buffalo robes and possum skin cloaks told a story about the owner or wearer's life.
Well, we spent so long in there that the rain stopped. For now. So this is Launceston College. And here's some information about it. This is a hospital in 1919. Then it was converted back to a learning facility. Ooh, that's pretty cool. So this is once a hospital. Wow. So we are heading to dinner. We are going to Geronimo. This is what the outside of our hotel looks like. Cool little garden there. And our car's parked in the car park there. Over there is a cafe called Kachina Cafe Restaurant. That's where we're thinking of going for breakfast tomorrow. Geronimo isn't too far away from our hotel, so that's why we're walking. I believe it's up there. It's only a couple blocks away, so we don't need to drive. So this is how it works. With the small plates, you choose 5 for your table overall, and then you've got the mains here, which is where you choose 1 dish for every 2-3 people, as it says. It looks like some good food here. And then of course the desserts. Here's the atmosphere. Yeah, really cool. So, first meal of one of the small dishes. These are the sourdough flatbreads with the maharima. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but it looks good though. Here is our fried cauliflower. And here are our croquettes. We've managed to cut a third off the 2 of the flatbreads and given ourselves each an equal amount. It's good. So I think this is the beef cheek ravioli. We ordered dumplings as well, but I think it's the ravioli because dumplings will probably take more time. I was wrong. These are the dumplings and that's the beef cheek ravioli. So we ordered the gnocchi and for some reason we've got 2 gnocchis. I don't know why, but we've got some maybe carrots on the side and there's garden salad on the way as well. See, there's the garden salad and it's because it's meant to be enough to share between 3 people because that's how it works here at Geronimo. So here's the balcony. It's night, but you can see all the lights. And a good view of up there. You can see all the buildings, the streets. I like it, and it looks really good on camera as well. And there's the front part. We've had a great day exploring, seeing things, and we're settled in a hotel. But we are going back home tomorrow, so this is just a one-nighter trip. But this has been fun and I hope you guys enjoyed this trip. I will be vlogging tomorrow's adventure. Don't know when that'll be uploaded. Just, I don't know, things are weird with my schedule and stuff. But this was great. So, till next time, in my next video, I shall see you then. Goodbye.